Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Once More Into the Breach. It is turn 48, and we find ourselves in an interesting situation because I screwed up. I take full responsibility for this. I did have a non-aggression pact with Yomi. I forgot about it because it was made in a forum message, which I offered a non-aggression pact, and I got back the message, yes. And it was, well, more than 2 months ago. I went and double-checked right after I'd completed and submitted my turn, not realizing that I was the last person to send their turn in. So I went and double-checked, looked at the message, went, oh crap, I can't do that yet. Went back to the game, and got an email on my phone, which was the new turn. So I have unprovokedly attacked someone that I had a non-aggression pact with, and taken 3 of their provinces. Which is frustrating for, I'm sure, for him, because he thought he was safe, and also for me, because I'm in a really good position to just do a lot of damage here. But anyway, now here's the interesting thing. On this turn, he also technically attacked me with a priest. He moved a priest into Agraria. He can't possibly have not known this was my province. I mean, I've owned this province since early in the game. It's been kind of our border for that long. So, like, the only options are either he misclicked or he was deliberately suiciding a priest on me. I suppose for scouting purposes. Now, let me look at this priest, see if maybe there was some kind of special quality. No, this is just a standard old, normal, independent priest. It's not even a demon priest, it's just a priest. And I mean, I just have 5 points of province defense here, but the only reason I can think of for doing this is scouting as preparation for an attack. Which makes me think that, I mean, that has to mean that he was going to be gunning for me. Unless, as I said, it was a mistake, but I don't give much credence to that theory because, I mean, that's the kind of mistake that you don't usually make in Dominions. I mean, even I don't often misclick and submit a turn having sent somebody to the wrong province. It's happened occasionally in single-player games where I'm not paying attention. Multiplayer? No. So, yeah, I can't help but think that was a scout to see how much defense this province really has. Which makes me feel not so bad about launching my attacks here. I still shouldn't have done it, but I've sent him a message about this and about that. We'll figure out whether we're going straight to war or whether I need to pull back. If I do need to pull back, then that's a little bit of a problem, because you may notice there are 430 units here with 2 Dionis. This is another huge army of the same style as the army that took Tianxi back in the day. I say back in the day, it wasn't all that long ago. But this is, I'm sure, 100% certain, this is a great big army with a couple of Dionis and a whole bunch of Oni Shugos. And they are going to come after me, and they're going to try to kill me with evocation spam like they did Yomi. Now, I'm a little bit vulnerable to evocation spam in some ways because my troops are not very good, but I have evocation spam that is just as good as his, and I have flaming arrows. I'm moving some troops down here under the command of 2 Lion Queens and my Voice of Lion. Just gonna throw these guys in here as well for laughs. So I've got my undisciplined pack of lion ants, of fire ants. I've got a couple fairly sizable groups of archers, about 100 archers. I've got some summer lions. I have a few war lions, and I have some mixed infantry, including including a few spider riders that I recruited just when I was thinking about recruiting spider riders, and some lion warriors. Now, the lion warriors are only really useful, the lion warriors being mixed in will be useful to kill the ghosts, which is kind of my goal for them. I have flaming arrows scripted. I'll be summoning some fire elementals after that, 5 fire elementals total, which will burn through most of my fire gems. And then these two will go off script, and probably they'll start casting fire evocations, which is fine from my perspective. Area of effect damage will be great for getting rid of ghosts. You can see this is mainly Ko-Onis, Aka-Onis, and bandits. You can see this is mainly Ko-Onis, Aka-Onis, and bandits, all of whom are fairly low hit point units that should be pretty vulnerable to area of effect evocations. I don't know how many Oni Shugos he has in this army, it's probably quite a few. There are not many units in Yomi at the moment, and especially not many mages. It seems like he's been spending almost all of his mage turns recruiting mages and sending them out, which makes me wonder where he's getting his research from. Because, like, unless... I have to double check, are some of Yomi's mages stealthy or something? Because I'm not seeing them. There's Masatoro, the Ghost General, over here. Basically, I don't want to pull back. It would be a significant breach of diplomatic etiquette if I didn't, and that might have repercussions in the multiplayer world for me in the future. And, I mean, I like to be a relatively honorable player, so if we discuss and he demands that I pull back, I will. If we have a discussion, I mean, I can point to this, although there's no big army near me. It's like he wasn't setting up for an attack next turn. Now, he might have been gathering this force in order to set up for an attack in a couple of turns, because he can't have helped but notice that I just took Chilad. So I imagine what was going to happen was he was going to split this force a little bit, take some troops from up here to go attack me this way, have this big army come up and take Chilad. But I can't prove it. And so if we have a big debate about the issue, I'm going to have to surrender these provinces, and then he'll know I'm coming, and he'll move his troops up to defend, and we'll get ready, and we'll have a big slugging match right around here. Now, on the plus side, if we do that, if we pull back and set up for a big slugging match, he doesn't know that I have these 3 Boudas. He knows that I have some Boudas. We took control of Dothian without resistance here. There was not even any province defense. The Mountains of Evernight, we had to fight a unit. So he sees that werehyena. And in... where's the other one? Right, the Mighty Pillars was... That's the Mighty Mountains of Evernight, the Searing Sands. Where was the Searing Sands? Yeah, the Searing Sands was the Tianxi province, so I took that out without any problem. Actually, I would like to look at that battle, because I was worried that... Oh yeah, I summoned an Earth Elemental. I was worried that the Noble Commander would kill my skeletons very easily, but I guess the Earth Elemental blocked him up sufficiently, so good. So it's really only this province and Dothian. Like, this province was Tianxi, so I can make an argument about that province. I could say, hey, look, you know, this was the Tianxi province, I'll keep that one. So if nothing else, I could move my troops into that province. And like I said, I have 3 Boudas here that he shouldn't know about. I have another Bouda back here forging a Dwarven Hammer. I've swapped this fortress back over to recruiting Crystal Sorceresses because I am now recruiting Boudas in Chilad, and I feel like that's enough for right now. Over here, my army is moving out. I'm recruiting yet more Lion Queens, and I'm forging another Skull of Fire to give her, to boost her up to 4 fire. So I have plenty of fire magic coming. I'm still just confused about this, honestly. I don't know what to think about it. But on the northern front, things are going even better. I've taken these provinces with my Boudas. I broke out of Henwood, and let's look at that battle, because it was kind of cool. So in Henwood, I've got Chaff up front, including some trolls, pygmies in the back, a line of a very significant number of Boudas. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 Boudas. 1 lone commander way in the back with 2 levels of experience. Interesting. Good going, Elias. And here's the besieging army. The only actually notable things here are there are 2 Gigjas. And they do have some Mandragoras that they've summoned. But, so we start off by summoning Earth Power. Nguji is casting Protection on people, which, as I've said before, is not actually terribly helpful, but whatever. We're sending some arrows down range. We're dropping some Legions of Steel to buff up the protection of my armies, although I think, actually, he dropped Legions of Steel on himself. I think those Legions of Steel didn't really help many of my infantry. They helped some of them. See, some of those guys are up to 21. And then I started dropping magma eruptions, which don't kill giants, but they do significant damage and weaken the giants, so that when my horned serpents and all go in, they can kill them very, very easily. And then the Boudas started spamming just disgusting quantities of skeletons. I mean, revolting numbers of skeletons. It is the skeleton apocalypse up in here. I'm churning out, like, if you have 2 death, you get 6 skeletons when you cast Horde of Skeletons. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, I have 9 Boudas. I think at this point all of them are casting Horde of Skeletons. So I'm getting at least about 50 of the undead per round. And it's not stopping anytime soon. It's just skeletons for days. Some of my guys are going off script, doing things like casting Legions of Steel on Soulless, which is a little silly, but what can you do? And you can see the undead hordes are just swarming forward. The 2 Gigjas are fatigued out. They do have an imp back there with them, very much fatigued out. They tried summoning some of their own skeletons, and it didn't go very well for them. So, my skeletal hordes swarm forward, and they're going to surround the Gigjas and just absolutely murder them from all sides. There we go. So, that was a good battle. I got some, I took very few casualties. My horned serpents died, an ogre died, a couple pygmies. Very light casualties, wiped out a couple of Gigjas and a small army. In White Peaks, and, you know, all these other places, I just took over provinces without much problem. Interestingly, so werehyenas, Hinnom beat Niflheim and took their fort, which is sad, but expected. I knew that was going to happen. They've got all these Amis, they had a big army, they had cave drakes, they had, you know, Avites and Seirs and all kinds of things. They were always going to win that. What's interesting is, where'd it go? Haunted Woods. In Haunted Woods, Hinnom sent in a Melkart, a geared Melkart with a frost brand and a vine shield and, you know, boots of quickness, which are a pretty valuable item, a ring of regeneration, a girdle of might. This is like, what is this, 5, 20, 30, this is 40 gems worth of equipment, plus a Melkart. And they lost. They ran into a small army that I'm sure Algalad was not expecting to be here. And it's not that the Melkart can't beat units, but it's, well, here, look what happens. The Melkart runs up, gets caught up in the wolves, gets caught up in the cataphracts, gets surrounded by the undead, and his defense skill starts going down because of the harassed penalty. And when his defense skill is low, you can see the harassed penalty keeps getting higher and higher. As it gets low, he starts to find himself being hit by the Jotun Huskarls, who do a lot of damage. They have 28 damage, which means they will cut through his 19 protection. So as the skeletons come in, the skeletons start to inflict more and more attacks around him. And the Jotun Huskarls and long dead giants begin to score hits. And there he goes. He just had an unlucky round while his defense skill was relatively low, and a couple of Jotun Huskarls got hits on him, and he just died. So that's one Melkart that Hinnom cannot deal with me with. And I cheer loudly for that eventuality. So what province was that? That was over here. That was the Haunted Woods. So it's werehyenas was just taken. The Haunted Woods they attacked and lost. You can see over here, has broken onto the land, and it looks like has probably taken at least a couple of these provinces because they are besieging the Wolfen Plain, which is great. I'm happy to see that. I want them to do that. That is fine by me. Also took the Blightlands from me. We had talked earlier, back when we were originally getting the invasion of Niflheim arranged, and he had mentioned he was going to move through the Blightlands to get to Niflheim. I kind of thought he only meant the once, but I guess he meant that he wanted the province, which is fine. It does have some gem income. It's not a huge amount. It's a Death, an Astral Pearl, and an Air Gem. I would like it, but I'm not going to make an issue out of it. My Death income is fairly healthy, as is my Astral income. My Air income is low, but I don't really need Air Gems for anything, so fine. He can have it. That's not a problem. So, Niflheim is basically gone. Most of their territory has been divvied up. That throne right there is an interesting question, as of course is this one. Surprisingly, Agartha is still very much alive and almost a contender. Like, they've got this army down here, which is actually fairly impressive. We can look at that in Tiradir. It's got 3 Earth Readers and 3 Oracles. A bunch of Earth Elementals, actually. Like, 9 size 4 Earth Elementals. Great Olms, a couple of Living Mercuries, which are Elemental type Poison Cloud Elementals. And just a few random chaff. But this is kind of a tough army to beat. And it's killed a Kohen, which means it's cutting into Hinnom's blood economy. Now, Hinnom is using Melkarts down here to blood hunt. And they've got a very, very large army here. It's mainly Vinemen and Fire Ants. So this is like an army of chaff. That said, an army of chaff could easily overwhelm this army because the Great Olms are the main firepower that they have, and the Great Olms can only paralyze 1 unit at a time. So you can see here, the Kohen just gets stunned, and that's kind of all she wrote. The Earth Elementals come in on the flanks. The Mannequins, which are undead, are surrounding the Living Mercuries because they are poison immune. He's dropping Strength of Giants on everybody, so he's buffing up very effectively. He's also casting Iron Warriors, which is a small area buff that's fairly effective. For some reason, he's also dropping a whole bunch of buffs on the Great Olms, but you can't control targeting, so it is what it is. In any case, basically this battle was over as soon as the Olms started to fire, because everyone is just being murdered by Olms. There's only blood slaves left by the time melee even happens. It's kind of hilarious. So yeah, this is a pretty significant army, and Agartha also has a force of 20 engravers right here, engravers and ghouls. They've got this fort on this throne, and they've got their capital still, and a whole bunch of provinces up here. I mean, they're still kind of a force. Like, in terms of territory owned, they're easily level with Yomi, if not higher. Especially because they still, for some reason, have a water province or two. That's weird. I would have thought would have taken care of that already. In any case, so that's interesting. And Hinnom does not seem to be pushing it very hard. They've got this army here. They've got that army here, which is mainly Seirs. They were just hit by a random event or something that dropped a couple of Ettins on Yieldmire. I don't think that's a spell, because I've never seen it before. I don't know what spell would do that. But it's interesting. Hinnom is not pushing very hard against Agartha, and they do have significant forces down here trying to take, easy provinces. They've already taken 3, probably 4, or possibly 5. They haven't taken Lomark, interestingly. My Boudas are just cleaning up some of these other provinces around here. Ostmark, I'll probably leave. I'll probably leave Ostmark so that can take it, but I am going to take Stonegrave Mountains to get the throne. My prophet, Shahidi, is here with this army. He's going to be besieging that fortress, and then I'll move him up that way. I'm going to get him a pair of Boots of the Messenger so that he can move quickly. Likewise, my god, Funny Guy, is going to move down here and claim the Throne of Thorns next turn. So it'll be interesting. I've got these 2 Boudas as well, so I'm going to have 5 Boudas here in Chilad that are still stealthy. I have my god, of course. Then I've got these 2 Boudas and the troops. I'm recruiting a whole bunch of pygmies down here in Chilad. I think I can probably fight Yomi pretty effectively. It's going to take that army at least 2 turns before he gets anywhere. And in that 2 turns, I'll have this army ready. I'll have even more troops in this army. I'm moving this commander down to pick up another pack of pygmies. How many pygmies am I recruiting? I should get 40 pygmies. That's enough. To boost these, 100 some odd units. Actually, it's more like 170 units. I've got 3 big mages coming down here. I'm shipping some nature gems down to give to Kiango so that he can cast Howl and other big nature spells. Research-wise, I'm researching Conjuration level 7, which will take me a couple turns, and then up to Conjuration level 8 for Well of Misery. I will be prepped to cast Well of Misery, I think, as soon as I get it. It only costs 6 death, and I have enough boosting items floating around. Actually, no, I tell a lie. I'm going to need to give Funny Guy a skull staff and have him forge a skull face still, because I haven't done that. Yeah, I don't have a skull face, and the Staff of Elemental Mastery doesn't boost death. So it's going to take several turns before I'm set up to cast Well of Misery, but with Alchemizing Gems, I should be able to throw it up pretty quickly after it becomes available. And as I've said before, I don't have any competition for Well of Misery in this game. So I'll be able to get that pretty easily. Once I get Well of Misery, it's going to become a race, because I'm going to take this throne, and I'm going to take that throne pretty quickly. I need to build a fort here. That was what Shadon was here for. I almost forgot. I need to build a palisade. That will cost 600 gold. I need to shuffle some stuff around because I've got to have that fort building, but quick. Don't build a temple. Research instead. Just hold your horses. So that gives me 400. I need 200 more. Oh, I've got to build a fort. I absolutely have to. I can't not. Am I recruiting units up here? No, I'm recruiting a scout. That's fine. I'm upgrading that fort in order to get a scout, in order to get mage recruitment going up here. I'm actually not going to do that. Patrol. Oh no, it's free. That's right, because I'd already started. How much gold can I get by removing all these pygmies? Enough? Yes. Okay, build a fort here. I need to have this forted so that it can't just be automatically conquered by somebody who drops a unit on it. Especially since is kind of lurking right there, and I don't like that. I trust We've been, like I said, good buddies the whole battle. But, nonetheless, trust but verify. So, I'm going to take 2 more thrones pretty quickly, and that will start to make people nervous. I already own 2. If I grab 2 more, then I'll have significantly and noticeably more than anybody else. Unfortunately, I have to do that. I can't wait, because if I wait, because I'm not capable of throne blitzing the way everybody else with Holy 3 units is. I've just got to get them as soon as I can. That will leave me 3 to go. The 3 thrones that I have my eyes on are Kasevik Highlands, Witch Haven, and Gol Amrod. I go to war with Yomi. I take Gol Amrod. I should be able to do that. He's only got the 1 big army. I take Gol Amrod. I claim that throne. I take Kasevik Highlands. I claim that throne. I don't have a non-aggression pact with Agartha, so I can just do that. I also don't have a non-aggression pact with Hinnom, but he has a fort here that has a lot of wall integrity. So I would need a big army to siege this place down in order to claim the throne. And in order to do that fast, I might be able to do it. I might be able to do it under the pretense of fighting Yomi. If I can get a huge pile of war lions and other units together and just jump on Moliton and conquer it, it'll still take a couple of turns, but that's probably the closest I'm going to get to a throne blitz. I need to claim this throne, claim that throne with my prophet. No, not that one. Claim Stonegrave Mountains with my prophet, start him moving down this way, take Kasevik Highlands, claim Kasevik Highlands. That kind of starts the countdown, because then I have only 2 points left. Then I take Gol Amrod, start my prophet, have my prophet have boots on, start him moving down here, so that I can claim Moliton and Gol Amrod in the same turn. So long as I'm still 2 points away, I might be able to persuade Great Grey Shrike and not to jump on me until I can claim them both in the same turn. It'll be tight. It'll be difficult, but it's possible. Okay. We'll see what happens. Of course, now that I've said that, I kind of give myself a little bit of a time limit, because this video is going to be released at some point. And none of this is going to happen in the next 12 turns. I still don't think I'm going to win. I have a plan. Anybody watching could probably figure out that plan or some variant of it, just because they know I only have 2 holy units Holy 3 units, and they know I have to claim thrones in order to win. But putting it out there is a little bit risky. Anyway, we will see what happens. So, thank you all so much for watching. Here's my plans for the coming turn. These Boudas. I told Yomi that I would be withdrawing if he wants me to. That said, he doesn't actually have any units here. I don't think he's got any commanders in that province. So he can't actually retake these provinces just yet. So Searing Sands was not Yomi in the first place. So I'm going to search that with Mashuhuri while he's there. This province definitely can't be hit by anything. So I'm just gonna search for magic sites. Just in case. And we will see what happens with Yomi. I may change these moves depending on what Yomi says, depending on what the end result of our negotiation is. But for now, that's my plan. So, I will see you all in turn 49. Take care, and we'll find out how it goes. I'm excited. This is by far the best I've ever done in a multiplayer game of Dominions, and it's really cool. So, in any case, I will see y'all next time. Later. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Once More Unto the Breach. It is turn 48. I think in the last video I said it was turn 48. That's wrong. It's turn 48 now. It was turn 47 then. And things have changed just a little bit. We've placed this fort under siege, taken that province. That province was actually taken back by a raiding Gigja, which is fine. Is definitely making a lot of progress over here. They've got an army here, including their god, which is mainly summons. They've got some Mushushus. They've also got Kidnids, which are a water summon of Maenad warriors, kind of, and Claymen, which are a water earth summon, I believe. Over here, I actually lost a Bouda because it was misscripted. The Bouda that raided this province was scripted to cast Magma Eruption accidentally instead of Horde of Skeletons, so it got overrun. There's a lot of province defense here. It just kind of got charged over and just wiped out. But that's fine. I'm going to take this province back this coming turn. Then my Boudas will switch over to this province. I've got Simai just waiting here for the other Boudas to join him, since he doesn't have any boots, so I don't think he could make the hop with only 22 moves, since these are snow provinces. This army is gonna siege this fort down kind of slowly. I'm forging a couple of... where are they? I'm forging a couple of gate cleavers, which are items that give you plus 50 siege strength, to transfer over to this army, just to speed things up a little bit, since it does have 500 wall integrity. It's a giant fortress. Down south, I'm moving some troops to support my armies. Funny Guy is here claiming the throne. I'm worried about this. This big doom stack could potentially be a serious problem. I think I have a solution, which is Funny Guy can cast a spell called Wailing Winds. It requires a death gem, and it basically hits the whole enemy army with a constant fear effect, making them take morale checks over and over and over. So, against the demons, who are fairly undisciplined and I believe do not have a high morale on average, that spell should at least clear out a whole lot of their chaff. There's basically two big death spells that I could cast in that battle. One is Wailing Winds, which will hopefully cause most of his chaff to just flee. The other is Rigor Mortis, which causes fatigue every turn to all living units. Now, I have Mugo here with a whole bunch of nature gems, and Mugo can cast Relief, which gives my whole army reinvigoration. Also, all of my mages can cast Summon Earth Power, which gives them more reinvigoration, and some of them also have items, well, it's really only Funny Guy out of this group, items that give them some reinvigoration. So that being so, I would not be hurt. All these guys have boots, though. My point is, I could probably outlast Rigor Mortis. Rigor Mortis has a 50% chance every turn to give any given unit 10 fatigue. So that should be survivable for me, hopefully not for him, since he doesn't seem to have geared his Dai Onis at all. I think what happened was, I think Yomi completely skipped construction research in favor of pushing up evocation as fast as possible in order to get those shadow blasts he's been throwing around. Because as limited in size as he's been, and as limited in recruitment as he's been, I don't think Yomi's had hardly any research. So I believe that what's happened here is he doesn't have hardly anything except evocation, and so Shadow Blast is his only trick. Now, it's a pretty solid trick against armies like this that rely on tons and tons of human-sized units. Against armies like mine, probably less of a trick. Now, I do have one big weakness, which is that these War Lions represent the vast, vast majority of my HP, and I could find myself facing an HP route if I went up against his army with the War Lions. That's what why I chose Wailing Winds over Rigor Mortis. Rigor Mortis would take a long time to have effect. Basically, all of his mages would have to cast a bunch of their spells and then fatigue out, and then Rigor Mortis would probably keep them from waking up again much. Wailing Winds will start having effect instantly, and it should drive a lot of his chaff off the field if we have a big army battle. If that happens, then he might be facing an HP route, and if I can time it right with some raiding Boudas, I might be able to actually cut his army off by capturing provinces behind it and turn an HP route into a disaster. Because if he HP routes and I win the battle, which I should at that point, because I don't think any of his units are berserkers, then his whole army is destroyed without me actually having to kill them. So that's the plan. I'm upgrading this fort. I'm, of course, building the fort up here. I'm recruiting a commander to build a fort on this province as well, just so that I have forts on all of my thrones, and they're all safe forever, and nothing bad will ever happen. That's the goal. It's not going to happen that way, but that is the goal. I'm claiming this throne, of course, with Funny Guy this turn. All of these Boudas are researching, except the ones that are summoning fire snakes. Fire snakes are a good fire summon that I got access to recently, and I have so much fire income, I'm just pumping them out as fast as I can. Now, on the negative side, just cast Gift of Health, which is a global that basically means that within his own dominion, all of his units have extra hit points and heal from, well, here, we can look at it. Get extra hit points, they age more slowly, and they may heal permanent afflictions. This is a problem. Basically, Gift of Health makes extremely difficult to attack. Because if you go into his dominion, then all of his units are much, much better. So in order to fight with Gift of Health up, you have to get him out of his dominion, basically. If I get out of his dominion, I could still beat him. Now, fortunately, this doesn't really affect me much. It makes scarier to the other players, but actually only has one throne. The Brass Throne, which is right here. The Brass Throne is not a realistic target. I would have to penetrate through at least 5 provinces to get to it. I mean, I could theoretically sneak my Pretender and a bunch of Boudas in to try and cap it, but I guarantee there's a fort on it. And since there's a fort on it, I mean, it's just not relevant to me. Like, I can ignore this throne. And if I can ignore this throne, then I could ignore except in the sense that I have to have defenses set up against him. Which I do. My Boudas and my mages here can provide very significant defense. So I'm not too terribly worried about as such. They will, of course, attack me when it comes time, but assuming I can delay things as much as possible, I mean, we have a non-aggression pact, so unless he breaks that, which he usually won't, people usually won't in this game, that'll give me 3 turns warning before he tries to fight me. 3 turns is long enough. In particular, if he breaks our nap when I have 5 thrones, then I think I have a very decent shot. I'm going to have 4 thrones soon, because I have Shahidi over here. Shahidi is ferrying a lot of my troops. I can transfer some of them now. In fact, I may be able to transfer all of them now. I can transfer all of them now. Okay, so Shahidi is going to move now. He's going to go up there. It's risky. Yeah, and I'm just going to have him set all the way in the back. What I really don't want is this army coming up here. Oh, risky. Okay, Shahidi, just hold still. You don't have boots on at the moment. Because here's the thing, I need to get him up here when I capture this throne in order to cap the throne as quickly as possible. I'm also going to need to fort this throne once I do that. I need to have a fort on it just to prevent it from being stolen by flying raiders. Also of interest, has summoned an Apkalu, at least one, which is a high-level summon that has access to, and is a powerful, I think, nature, water, and astral mage. So there's that. Basically, if this game was going to Conquest, would absolutely be the person to beat, because he's got the global enchantments, he's got Mother Oak, he's got Earthblood Deepwell, he's got the Gift of Health, he's got probably the most territory. I think he has more territory than me. He's got the income, he's got all kinds of advantages, but remember, it's all about thrones. Nothing matters except the thrones. And taking the thrones, like this throne has no fort on it, so this throne can be sniped. That throne's about to be taken, that'll give me 3. That throne will be taken in about 3 turns, that'll give me 4. This throne, and this throne are going to be the targets. So I'm going to have to go to war with Agartha to an extent, but Agartha is fairly broken as a power. I mean, they still have some stuff, but not a huge amount, especially with right up there. Ur's been fighting with Agartha. I think Ur's probably going to move down into Agarthan territory. That throne there might actually also be a target if I can get to it before does, but I can't rely on that. That throne I can pretty much rely on. I will need to bring an army to break down the fort. This throne is unguarded and an easy target. That throne has a powerful fort on it, so I'm going to need to figure out how to deal with that. But I feel like I'm within striking distance. I feel like I have a shot. I feel like I'm a contender. I'm moving some Boudas out here, kind of sneaking around. I've got all my Boudas here scripted up. They're scripted to summon earth elementals and skeletons. Basically to put a whole bunch of hit points on the field quickly and keep my army in the fight, while ideally the enemy army that I'm facing starts to rout. This army does have quite a lot of siege strength, so I should be able to bust down the walls of the fortress in Dothian very, very quickly. I will issue my attack orders next turn, turn 59, and then turn 60, the attacks will hit. I have this army right here, they're just waiting. There's nothing else for them to do here. Actually, I'll tell you what. Rim and Mesara and Kiango, you can all preach, just to push my dominion up as hard as possible. I only have 4 temples at the moment. I could use another temple, actually. I don't have a temple here. Mugo. I need money. I'm going to free up some money so that I can build a temple. Let's kill this recruitment for a turn. 285. What am I recruiting here? Nothing. Nothing but mages. Come on. I know there's someplace I'm recruiting something. You're building that palisade. I'm recruiting a commander here, but I need that. I'm recruiting mages, obviously, but I'm not going to stop that. Oh, I'm recruiting pygmies down here as well. Okay, 400 gold. Mugo. Actually, tell you what, Mugo. I've got some nature gems. I'm not actually in competition for any of the big nature spells. So why don't you, Kitharonic Lion or Forest Trolls? Why don't you get me some Forest Trolls and you build a temple. Okay, so that'll put me up to 5 temples. 5 temples will increase my chance of successful dominion spread and give me an extra temple check. I have a number of checks going on right now, which is good. But I need to bump up my Dominion strength just a little bit, especially now that Ur's Dominion has become a serious, serious concern. So yeah, we're working on things here. Ur's been summoning a lot of Vine Men because he has a lot of nature gems. I need to start moving scouts into Ur's territory. I need more scout production is what I'm building another scout here, and those 2 scouts will carry the gate cleavers. Possibly Noguchi is going up now to add their weight to the battle. Should be able to break down this fort in about 3 turns. I've done 115 points of damage to it, or, well, counting the defenders, I don't know exactly how much I've done, but moderately damaged, so reasonable damage. We'll do more next turn, and then the turn after that I'll have the gate cleavers, which will add an extra 100. Should be able to chop it down in 3 or 4 turns. Asher is searching for sites, so is Musin. Simai is just hiding up here. If this army sweeps through, he'll be fine. They won't find him. So yeah, those are the moves. My research is still climbing. I'm up to 1120 research points. I'll hit Conjuration 7 in just a couple turns. I'm not spending my death gems because as soon as I hit level 8, I do want to get the Well of Misery. Now, getting the Well of Misery does require that funny guy be here with a skull staff and a skull face. So, where do I have a skull staff? Mashuhuri has a skull staff, but he's nowhere nearby, near a fort. Kibwana has a skull staff, but likewise, he's doing things. I think I'm going to have to forge a skull staff. So, let me take that away. Go to Popo. We'll make Popo forge me a skull staff. Yeah, forge a skull staff. Then, funny guy, why are you defending? Claim the throne, please. I've had to tell him that like 3 or 4 times. Sometimes I think orders don't carry over. If you, like, click on somebody and then click away, come back, some orders don't seem to be kept. So we'll forge a skull staff, we'll give that to him, that'll give him 5 death, then he can forge the skull face. That'll give him 6 death. Then he can go do things while I'm waiting to finish researching Conjuration level 7, which will take a couple more turns, like 3 more turns or so. Then hopefully he'll be able to pop back here and cast Well of Misery, which will give me another 21 death gems. That will give me more or less gem parity with I don't think has any way to get Well of Misery. Of course, he didn't have an easy way to get Earthblood Deepwell, at least no easier than me. But Well of Misery, I think, is well beyond his grasp. He doesn't have native high-level death, and I kind of gave myself insurance by taking a high-level death pretender, which he definitely did not do. Because if we recall, we saw Bull of the North, and Bull of the North is Earth and Nature. It would be really, really nice. It would be really nice if Hinnom, like, happened to have troops up here that could kill Bull of the North. Or if Niflheim had, like, 8 Nifl Jarls just sitting in that fortress twiddling their thumbs that could kill Bull of the North. I'm not going to count on it, but it would be nice. In any case, as I said, is totally secondary. I'm never going to invade If they invade me, they have to give me warning. And if they give me warning, I will pour Boudas into their territory and just wreak havoc. So, I'm not too worried about maybe I should be, but I'm not. I can't worry about everything, and goes in the secondary pile. The primary pile contains Hinnom, and it contains Baratos. Not because I'm worried about those two beating me in a war, although probably they would. At least Baratos would. Not sure about Hinnom. I think I greatly outmass Hinnom at this point. No, it's because they are the two that are in a best position to snipe forts, to snipe thrones away from me, as soon as they realize that I'm going for the thrones. So, I'm gonna get into a situation where I just have to defend my thrones if I'm gonna actually go for the gusto and try to win this thing. And we'll see what happens. I mean, there is another option. The other option is play the long game, because the Cataclysm will kick off in about 3 years. Around turn, I think it was 78, something like that. In about another 30 turns, the Cataclysm will kick off. As long as I've positioned myself really well by then, and as long as I have the most thrones when the Cataclysm starts to happen, I have the best odds of winning. It doesn't guarantee me victory, but it would have I would have the best odds. So that would say, if I want to play the long game like that, then what I do is I turn on and I break Ur's back as powerfully as I can, and I take the opportunity to also break the back of Boudas, who is probably the other most threatening player at the moment. He's quite large. At this point, he's eaten a lot of Tianxi very quickly. He's gotten quite a lot of, like, this whole lump of territory he's gotten from Tianxi. So that's what? 4, 8, 10, that's like 13, 14 provinces. On top of what he already had over here, he's nibbling around the corners of Agartha as well. So, taking if I wanted to play the long game, the way I would do it would be to take into a war with Boudas, beat back Boudas, and then break my non-aggression pact with infiltrate Boudas, and wipe out as many of their territories as I could. It won't be as damaging to as it would be to Boudas, because Boudas relies on blood hunting. But, you know. Now, I will point out, Boudas has cleverly made themselves largely immune to raids, because look, they've just got forts in every province. I think they've got more forts than anybody by a significant margin. And that does a couple of things to them, or for them. First of all, it means that they can blood hunt, and their blood hunters can't be attacked, because blood hunting, I think, technically takes place in the fort. Like, it's only your patrollers that are outside the fort. Secondly, it means that if they have the income, and I mean, I guess they must have the income if they're producing that many forts. If they have the income, it means they can be producing mages from all of these forts, which is why, of course, forts are important. So, yeah. As the game goes longer, Boudas is going to be more and more dominant, both because they're going to reach the very highest levels of blood magic, and because their weight of magery is going to start telling in a big, big way. So basically, that's a great argument for not playing the long game. It's an excellent argument for just going for the gusto and trying to snipe the thrones out as quickly as possible. Because I don't want to deal with this mess. I don't really want to deal with this mess. I only want... If I can get out of this game only having to deal with this mess, then I think I come out well ahead. I think that puts me on top. So, that being so, you've seen my moves, we know what we're getting ready to do, and I will see you in turn 49, where the orders will be given for the invasion of Yomi. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to turn 49 of Once More Into the Breach, also known as General Confusion's Terrible, Horrible, No Good, Very Bad Day. My plans have been a little bit deranged this turn. In general, if you look at the map, everything's going kind of to code. I did take that province back, or the Mighty Pillars. What happened to the Mighty Pillars? Yeah, I took the Mighty Pillars back. I lost this province because Niflheim's army moved up here to take back White Peaks. He really should have stayed at home because is besieging Niflheim, but that's the AI for you. It'll do these things. I'm getting a total of 6 Boudas into this province. So, if he comes over here, he's going to have a bad day. Semi needs to... Yeah, there's going to be a lot of skeletons coming out. And then these guys, the ones with 3 death, are all scripted to throw at least 1 Banefire after they've summoned a couple hordes of skeletons. So, yeah, there'll be enough skeletons to block up all the chaff, and then I'll throw a little bit of Area Bane effect into the middle of them and start decaying all of his giants, and Now, this is a pretty tough army just because it's led by 2 Gigjas and a Neefel Jarl. So there's that, and I don't have any fire gems, but still, I could take it. This army is still sieging down this castle. I've got 2 gate cleavers in the hands of 2 scouts moving up to finish busting it down so I can take it quickly. We'll be able to secure that inside of a couple turns. I'm forging a bunch of boots so Shahidian people can move around. Here's the problem. Here's the real problem. That's the problem. I had, full disclosure, I had almost forgotten that my god had been horror marked. But all of a sudden, he got attacked by 4 Brass Claw Horrors. And Brass Claw Horrors have these poisonous and shocking attacks. And they're lesser horrors, but there were 4 of them. And he managed to kill 1 because he went off script. Because in assassination attempts, the defender is unscripted. So he went off script. He buffed himself a little bit, and then he cast a, let me show you the battle. Let me show you what happened. So we've got these 4 Brass Claw Horrors. Funny guy is up here. He's holding his death gems because I had him scripted to cast Wailing Winds, which is, the army defeating spell. So he casts Iron Skin on himself, and then instead of summoning anything or doing anything, he casts Magma Eruption. And he gets a cast off, and he kills one of the Brass Claw Horrors outright, because they're not that tough, but he's also murdered in the same turn. So he died. Now, fortunately, I had cast Twiceborn on him. So, funny guy lives again as a white mage. Unfortunately, he got muted. Which means all his magic skills are now halved. Which means he can't cast Well of Misery anymore. And I mean, and he can't cast Wailing Winds. He can't cast any of the spells that he was actually useful for anymore because of what just happened to him. So what I've done is I can't have him die again. I absolutely can't. The issue is he's one of my only 2 units that can claim thrones. So without him, the throne rush kind of thing I was talking about absolutely can't happen. I mean, it's going to be hard to pull it off. It was going to be hard to pull it off anyway. But without him, it's impossible. He's now lost his stealth, because now he's a white mage, and white mages are not stealthy. And he's lost his magic. He can still cloud trapeze with air gems, so he has that mobility option. But he needs to be better. So what I'm doing now is I'm forging equipment to keep him safe. I'm forging Red Dragon Scale Mail. Actually, I just realized he's going to be off script in assassination attempts, because I was trying to script him to summon fire elementals. But I've just remembered that won't work, because he doesn't have the script. So what I'm going to have to do is, I'm just going to have to give him a couple gems of everything and hope that he uses them, basically. Oh god, so bad. What I'm doing is, I'm trying to forge equipment for him to keep him safe. So he's forging a water bracelet because he went down to 1 water. Once he gets back up to 2 water, he can forge a bottle of living water, which will give him a water elemental automatically with him. I'm also forging him a handful of acorns, so he will have 3 vine men automatically with him. If he has enough stuff, then if lesser horrors attack him again, he should be able to hold them off. I was forging Red Dragon Scale Mail for fire resistance. That's not actually terribly relevant, I've just realized. Instead, I should probably forge... I would like to forge an Iron Face. That will take Earth level 4. Kiari has Earth level 3. Katibu. Katibu is empowering himself once again in blood. He was blood hunting to gather some extra slaves, so he's going to be level 3 blood. That will let him forge Earthstone, or Bloodstones. But what I need to do is, I need to give a Bloodstone to somebody who has Earth 3 who's not already doing something terribly, terribly important. Like Mosi. I need to give a Bloodstone to Mosi. So, magic item treasury, where are my Bloodstones? They're somewhere. Buana has one, he doesn't need it. Because he's just forging a gate cleaver. I'm forging more gate cleavers, because gate cleavers are going to be mondo mucho important. Mosi can have that. I don't have any earth gems. Never mind. Okay. So I'm forging the water bracelet, I'm forging the handful of acorns, I'm forging a red dragon scale mail. It'll give him something to wear, it'll give him fire resistance, which will be good because he does carry a couple of fire gems and have fire magic. I'm hoping that if he's attacked by horrors again, he'll summon elementals. And hoping is about all I can do, because with that much magic, it's impossible to predict what the AI will actually try to cast. If Funny Guy dies, I've lost. If Funny Guy actually dies, then there is nothing. There's no way I can possibly win. If I still have Funny Guy and I still have Shahidi, then I have a chance. There will always be a chance so long as those two survive, because those do mean I can theoretically take 2 thrones in 1 turn. And that's why I'm forging all these gate cleavers. I'm getting 2 gate cleavers this turn, pumping all of my earth gems into it, because what I'm going to need to do is I'm going to need to bust down at least 1 fort. Taking that is not happening without breaking through Hinnom really severely. So I guess it's possible if this hasn't been forted. It probably has. But in any case, I'm going to need to take this fort for sure. I'm also almost certainly going to need to take this fort, and that fort is wall integrity 500, so I definitely need a whole bunch of gate cleavers stacked up to smash through that in 1 turn, because the last thing I need is for anyone to have any warning. As I said last time, since I have the non-aggression pact with I now also have a non-aggression pact with Baratos, so 3 turns warning there, 5 turns warning there. At some point, I'm going to get to the point where everyone declares war on me, and I have 3 turns to either take the thrones or lose. I'm forting this throne. I'm forting this throne. Gonna have to upgrade those forts as quickly as I can. I've already had to cut back on mage production a little bit in order to get everything done that I need to do with my money. But that's gonna have to be okay. This army, fairly solid. It has a lot of elemental summoning in it. Just a lot of elemental summoning available. Also, if I have an extra thistle mace somewhere, I don't need 2 nature 4s down here. So let's give Kawaida a thistle mace for now, so she can transfer it down to Kiango, and then Kiango can use it to buff up his Strength of Gaia Howl Relief combo. This army is not strong troop-wise, but it does have a whole bunch of fire ants, which are pretty good chaff. It also has these summer lions, which are good ethereal chaff. And like I said, it has a lot of elemental summoning. It has these 2 summoning fire elementals, it'll have her summoning fire elementals, and it'll have Abu summoning earth elementals. So crapping out elementals like that should be pretty effective against the Oni. Fire elementals are not ideal against Oni, because some of them are fire resistant, but it'll work. Then I'll have Strength of Gaia, Howl, and Relief. I'll have Howl and Relief both up after about 5 rounds, or 6 rounds in. So as the main fighting kind of really kicks off, I'll have those active. The risk of this army is that Shadow Blast carves through my infantry too quickly for me to get anything done. For that, it would be ideal if I had a bunch of Horde of Skeletons. All of my Boudas are kind of over here at the moment, but, well, Kondo can fly. Kondo can't quite fly there in 1 turn, but he can get there in 1 turn. Well, I don't need Kondo. What I need is, I don't have any Death 3 down here, and that's really what I would like. Because Kondo is also scripted for Earth Elementals. Kondo, Mosi, and Mandara are all scripted for Earth Elementals. Kondo, I guess, doesn't need to be, because he's not Death 3 either. So, tell you what, Kondo, let me take your Earth Gems away. You go back to Horde of Skeletons scripting. Mudrick, how fast can you move? You can get there in 1 turn. So let's get these 3 guys all over there. That leaves me 2 scripted for elementals and 1 scripted for... What are you scripted for? You're scripted for Horde of Skeletons. For big battles, Magma Eruption scripting is also pretty solid. I just need to have enough chaff generation. This army, however, has enough chaff because I've got about 80 War Lions I've got these fire snakes, which are pretty good summons, and they have a heat aura and fire resistance, so you can magma eruption on top of them with no worries. I've got trolls, which regenerate. Forest trolls are susceptible to fire, which is kind of a problem. But then I've also got all these units moving in, so that's about another 40 chaff. So they should be able to take that fortress without too much trouble. So I don't really need to worry about spamming skeletons to support them. 1 or 2 guys with earth elementals will be enough. Let's leave, in fact, tell you what, let's take Mandara off as well. So Mandara, Kondu, Mudrik, and Aharon. No. And Kasisi. So that's 4 Boudas will sneak over here. I'm anticipating this army can't move up to my border in 1 turn. They may just be trying to defend the throne while they get a fort up, which would be a reasonable strategy. But so long as I can... I've already got Taki hiding here. Next turn is when the fighting kicks off against Yomi. So this turn, preparatory movements. Next turn, I give the orders. We'll be attacking that throne, this province, and probably 1 or 2 of these provinces as well. Taki... I've got Kafara and Hassan hiding in here as well. And I've got this fortress that I may well want to besiege, just to put it under siege. It only has a little bit of province defense. So Hassan or Kafara can probably raid that province just fine themselves. You both need to be scripted for Hoarder Skeletons. Then in terms of mobility limitation, capturing Elder Hill with a raiding Bouda would be pretty solid. That province is forted. Burning down that temple would be a good idea. And then this army, I'm going to want all the Boudas close enough that when this army goes into battle, the Boudas can collapse to support. Yeah, actually, I'm going to want the Boudas with the army the turn before the battle, because if you're attacking one province from multiple angles and a defending army in that province moves to attack you at the same time, it's random whether the battle happens in the province you're attacking or the province you're attacking from. And if it happens in the province you're attacking from, then anybody who's trying to help you ends up in this province instead of where the battle is being fought. Does that make sense? Let me explain it another way. Okay, so if I've got this army here, and I have this army defending that's moved here, let's say I give an order for this army to attack in this direction, to attack Anramark, and simultaneously the troops in Anramark try to attack Erebon to cut me off. It's random. The game determines randomly whether the battle happens in Erebon or Anramark. If the battle happens in Erebon, then any other troops I might have pulled from surrounding provinces to help attack Anramark won't be present. So if I have a bunch of Boudas around here, and I have them all converge on the fortress at the same time as an army here converges on the fortress, they might not actually help me if the army in the fortress has come out to attack me. So in any case, I am definitely still going to be able to take Yomi on. This army might win a battle or 2, but it will only do so by expending a lot of resources, and I'll wear it down. The only question I have at this point is whether I'm actually going to be able to take the thrones before bad stuff happens to me. I've stopped recruiting Boudas here entirely because I just don't have the... Actually, you know what? Sages are 85, a Bouda is 215. Crystal Sorceress is 105. Research mages are less important right now. We're going to cancel these guys. I'm entering the point of the battle of the game where research is kind of secondary. It's more important that I have combat capacity. So we're going to start recruiting Boudas here. We're also going to spam out a whole bunch more pygmies to support this army. Ooh, baby. Oh, this is going to be a good time. A good time. A hot time in the old town tonight. Kinda is scripted for... I'm just using Kinda to forge. Kinda is forging a pair of boots. The boots of 7 mile strides. The nature boots that give me, like, incredibly high map move. The idea is that I'll give those to Funny Guy, And with his water bottle, his handful of acorns, and his boots and his armor, he'll be much, much tougher against horrors. I should have given him stuff like this a long time ago. I just didn't think of it. I was busy doing other things. I lost track. It was totally my fault. It was a bad, bad mistake. But hopefully not one that's actually cost me the game. So long as I can get the thrones, I did claim this throne before Funny Guy was assassinated. So I have 3 right now. I need to get 4 more. That one is effectively mine already. I've already told that I'm going to be taking that throne, and he should honor that. He has up to now. This throne I'll be able to take from Yomi with a struggle, with a fight, but I'll be able to take it. That only leaves 2 more. That throne is fairly vulnerable, and so long as Hinnom keeps distracting Agartha, I don't think Agartha will fight too hard over it if I don't keep pushing. Once I have that one, and Yomi's throne, and this throne, then I only have 1 more to go. And that has to be either here or here. Now, while Funny Guy was still a Buddha, there was actually the possibility... I have to see if this is forted. If this has a fort on it, then this was never a possibility. But while Funny Guy was a Buddha, there was always the theoretical possibility that I could sneak Funny Guy in here with a Buddha escort and take this province. And just cap it. I doubt that can happen now. The only way it could happen now is if I could get to this fort and Cloud Trapeze over. I think Cloud Trapeze 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Actually, hold up. Yeah, Cloud Trapeze has a 5 province range. I thought it did. And he still has air too, so he can still Cloud Trapeze. So if I had... Agartha's forts have 250 wall integrity. If I had 6 Buddhas with gate cleavers and Cloud Trapezed in, Funny Guy would have to beat the province defense by himself because magic phase movement happens first. Then the Buddhas would besiege a fort that was here, break down the gates in 1 turn. The next turn I would attack and take the fort, probably, because 6 Buddhas, if I gave them gems, could take it. So 1 turn to land, 1 turn to break the fort, the next turn I would claim the throne. That's doable. That is doable. Something to think about. However, we have already decided that war is going to be declared on Hinnom. So, the reason why I might do that instead is because this fort is going to be a bear to take. And once he sees me going for this fort, Hinnom will almost certainly just zerg troops into it and drop in Melkarts and Baals and demons and all kinds of shit. And it'll be a mess. A huge mess. I might not even be able to win. But, we will see what happens in turn 50. That's about all I got for right now. I'm still just kind of moving things around. That one poor elephant has been standing here for like 3 years at this point. I've just totally written him off. I haven't even sent somebody to collect him. I think I sent somebody over there once with the idea that I would collect him, and then I forgot that was what I was doing and just moved them. Yeah, Matojo, I think. I think Matojo went over there to site search and was also going to pick that elephant up and then forgot and just came back. Whatever, I'm not going to waste a mage turn on him now. But that is going to be the end for me. Still forging more gate cleavers so I can get a pretty sizable collection. I have given up on Well of Misery. Well of Misery is out of reach because without Funny Guy being native death 4, I can't ratchet up to death 6 very easily. The only way I could do it would be through summons, which would be very expensive in death gems, and my death gem income isn't fantastic. It's fire gems that my income is fantastic. Oh, yeah, the other bad thing. If Funny Guy dies, I lose that global enchantment because he's the one who cast it. So if Funny Guy dies, my fire gem income drops by 20, which would be bad. Like, very bad. There is actually a spell that I can cast with fire gems, Distill Gold, that turns my extra fire gems into money. And that's actually something I'm considering. Do I have any high-level fire mages who are just sitting around? No, all of my fire mages are doing something. What I might do, however, is I have a bunch of nature gems right now. Why don't you give your nature gems back for use? You can pick up some more before the actual battle happens. And why don't you summon some more units? I can't summon fire ants because those take fire gems. I could summon Chithyronic lions, which are large and tough and hard to kill. Or I could get more forest trolls, but they are not fire immune. Fire snakes. Use up the rest of my fire gems on that. Forest troll tribe would be nice, but it's really expensive. Lamias could be nice. Get 6 Lamias. They're were creatures that can change shape, and they have regeneration too. So Lamias aren't bad. This is not going to be critical. It's not really going to affect the battle all that much. I should have probably set up some Vinemen production factories a long time ago, but I've never really liked Vinemen. They just never seem very effective. I could get a whole bunch of horned serpents, but they're not very good. Yeah, I'm just going to summon Leogryphs. Leogryphs are basically lions with magic resistance. 2 for every extra level, so I would get 14 from Rumaliza. No, I would get 13 from I would get 12 from Rumaliza. Wow, I can't math. I'm just going to summon a Chithyronic lion. Just because they're cool. They're thematic. I like them. They're not the greatest units, but they're pretty tough. So, there's that. And I can just pop it in with my regular lions and kind of stiffen them up a little bit. So, that is going to be the turn. We're all set up for the attack on Yomi. That will happen next turn. Next turn, this army with its big mages will head down here. These Boudas will move to support. We'll be taking a few provinces. We'll be taking that province with a Bouda. This province probably with a Bouda, because I imagine that guy is collecting these troops and moving out. We'll try and take this province with a Bouda. And just kind of cripple up Yomi's abilities. We'll take this province with... Probably Mashuhuri can take this province by himself. Yeah, and then Kenyatta can take that one. While this army sieges down this fortress, which he's just abandoned. Like, there's nothing here. This army will be more than sufficient to take that fortress with the help of just, you know, a couple of Boudas. Mosi and Aharon will be enough to take that fortress. I could also summon some undead. So if I'm giving up... I don't want to give up on Well of Misery. But I kind of have to, just because, realistically speaking, to get to it would require, like... I would have to summon a Spectre. I think Spectres can have Death 3. 1 second. I could summon a Ziz. Interesting. Give me just a second. Okay, yeah, Spectres have about a 5% chance to have Native Death 3, and Native Death 3 is what I would need, because with Native Death 3, then I could ratchet up painfully and slowly. It would take too many Death Gems, so what I'm going to do is, instead, I'm going to use those Death Gems to summon some Death Critters. Funny Guy doesn't need that staff right at the moment. If he gets attacked again by horrors this turn, I'm doomed. He'll die, and there will be nothing I can do about it, and it will be bad, and I will cry. But I'm going to act as if that's not going to happen. So 4 summons. I could get a few whites, which are tough. I could get some Shade Beasts, which are there's lots of them. That's their main thing. I could get another Death Mage. I could get an undead elephant, or I could get 20 long dead horsemen, or I could reanimate long dead archers, which fire banefire arrows. Or I could enliven statues. Living statues are tough chaff. This army isn't really the one that needs a whole lot of chaff, though. I think I'm probably going to go with Banes, to be honest. Or Whites. I could start... this is actually something that I've been thinking about as an anti-Melkart strategy. I could summon Banes or Bane Lords. I could revive Bane Lords and start thugging them out. They already start with a Bane Sword, which is a pretty decent weapon, and high protection, and they have 0 encumbrance. So that's a possible anti-Melkart strategy, but to be honest, my war strategy kind of hinges on not fighting Melkarts much if at all. It's kind of a moot point because I don't have any 4 death guys available to cast the spell right now anyway. And I'm low on gems in general, so I don't have much item forging power at the moment, and my god is going to have to be hopping around like a bunny on crack. Let's, or I could get Shades. Shades aren't bad. Just because they're ethereal and they have that strength drain attack, so they can last for quite a while against anybody without magical attacks. Yomi has a lot of magical attacks, though. I'm going to summon Shade Beasts just for numbers. They can also revive the people they kill. They reanimate, you know, their targets, as it were. And then I could also summon Spirits. You get a lot of them, but they're not very useful. We'll summon some Shades with the rest of my death gems there. Yeah, I'm just giving up on Well of Misery. It's not going to happen. If it does happen, it will be too late to matter. Because my strategy at this point kind of hinges on ending the game within, like, the next, I'm going to say 10 turns. 10 to 15 turns. I want to have the game over. I'm going to make my play, basically. And either it'll work, or it won't work. And either way, I'll know pretty soon. If it doesn't work, I can fall back and try another strategy, potentially. But I'll probably have everyone pissed off at me if it doesn't work, so we'll see how it goes. Maybe if stands by my side, I'll be able to stay into the late game. In any case, thank you all so much for watching. Hopefully, turn 50 goes better for me. I will see you then. Bye-bye.